Hi, today I want to talk to you about things in cans and specifically beans with sausages. Now, this became a big thing in the UK in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Everybody wanted a meal in a can. And cans are amazing things, aren't they? Because how long does something last in a can? Well, it can last 10, 20, 30 years. It's not what the sell-by date says on actual cans that you buy these days. This one I've just bought says sell-by January 2028. So that's estimating around about 2 years. But in reality, you could leave this in your cupboard for 5 years, 10 years, as long as it's not pierced and it doesn't have any weird lumps and bumps or any rust on it, it's going to last for a very long time. But today I wanted to talk about beans with sausage because this is basically something that when I was a kid back in the 80s, I used to have for a meal all the time. You go to the cupboard, there'd be nothing in, there'd be a tin of beans with sausages, you heat it up, you pour it out, job done, meal in a tin. And remarkably, you can still buy it today. So this is popular all across the UK and there's tons of different varieties of them. So the supermarkets make their own ones, but the premium product is Heinz beans with sausages, as always. Heinz started producing beans in a tin back in 1885 and they started importing it into the UK the following year, 1886. And this is basically still the market leader. So I thought today what I wanted to do is just test out how good this product is, because I haven't eaten beans with sausage for probably 30 years, maybe more than 30 years, maybe 40 years. I haven't eaten it for a very long time. So I wanted to check out what it tastes like and also to put these different brands to the test because there is a massive difference in price. So we start at this end. Heinz beans with sausage. You can get two different varieties. There is Heinz vegan sausages. Obviously, everything can be vegan these days, so there's no meat in this product. This comes in at £2 per tin if you're going to buy that from the supermarket. You can also get one with real pork sausages. These are Richmond sausages, which is a relatively famous sausage brand. These are also £2. So £2 for a meal, that sounds quite reasonable, doesn't it? Now, one of the biggest alternative brands in the UK is Branston, famous mostly for their Branston pickle, and they'd also do sauces. But you can get these pork sausages with beans, Branston brand, £1.50. So quite a bit cheaper than the £2 that Heinz are charging, £1.50. We'll check out whether or not they taste any good. And then the supermarkets, they do their own brands, their own label, and these are amazingly cheap. Now, in the UK at the moment, there's one of these price matching things going on, which is basically meaning that everything is really cheap. The price matches in most supermarkets are against Lidl and Aldi. Lidl and Aldi don't make beans with sausage because they're both German and it's not really a German thing. But you can get a Morrisons baked beans with sausage, 55p. Sainsbury's one is also 55p. And Tesco's, just to make sure that they're beating the competition, 54p. So 54p for a whole tin of beans with sausage. Really good deal. It's a lot cheaper than the Heinz product at £2. The big question is, does the Heinz product taste 4 times better than these supermarket-owned ones? Well, I'm going to take all these out. Fortunately, these days, everything comes with one of these peel-off labels, so you can just open it. It's as easy as this to open a tin these days. You don't have to get your tin opener out. You can just open them up. So I'm going to open them all up now and see how they look. The initial first impression in the tin. Let's look. I can already smell them. You can smell the tomato sauce that's coming out from these tins. Let's open all 6 of them up and see if they look any different at all in the tin. Now, obviously, these have been sitting in the tin. When the whole point of putting things into tins is that everything is sort of heat sealed and there's very little oxygen in the tin. That's why tins last so long, because there's no oxygen in there to start making the food go bad. So they're basically sealed. So this is what the cheapest one from Tesco's looks like. Not particularly appetizing when you're looking down at the tin. This is the Sainsbury's version. Yeah, similar. Morrisons, with them all open here, actually, it smells a little bit like dog food. Branston, I mean, it's not dog food, it's just the cumulative impact of all of these tins. This is the Heinz one with Richmond sausages. That probably looks the least appealing out of all of them so far. That looks really gloopy. And then this is the vegan one. You can't actually see the sausages or the beans. You can just see some sauce in there. So I'm going to pour all of these into some bowls, get myself a fork, and then I'm going to try them all. I'm going to actually heat them up in the microwave because I don't really want to eat cold beans with sausage. And we'll do a taste test and see whether or not there is a noticeable difference between the really cheap ones from the supermarket and the very expensive ones from Heinz. So I'll see you in a moment when I've done that. Okay, so I've given all of these tins of beans a minute and a half in the microwave. So it is an amazingly quick meal. You know, if you are looking for something quick to eat out of a tin that's pretty cheap, then you could turn this around pretty quickly. So I've got a system here. I've got the cans all lined up, and I've got a zigzag system going on in terms of which one's which. So we're going to start off with the cheapest one, the Tesco's one. So this is what they look like. Now, I haven't counted how many sausages are in each tin, but it looks like a similar sort of number. So in here, it looks like we've got 8 sausages, I think, from the Tesco's one. There's quite a lot of sauce in here. It looks quite good. Smells pretty good, actually. So this is what it looks like. Let's just try the sausage and the beans. Okay, so that reminds me very much of my youth, these pork sausages. They're very small. You can see that on the spoon, you know, they're just sort of bite-sized. And they're really soft, so you don't really, if you didn't have any teeth, you'd be able to eat these. There's not much bite in them. Are these pork sausages? I think they are pork sausages. So it says, succulent cocktail sausages seasoned for a rich, meaty flavour. Yeah, it's baked bean and pork sausage. So it tastes of pork, but it doesn't really taste like... The sausage sort of has the same consistency as the beans. It just sort of melts. It's, you know, you just squish it. It tastes pretty good though. Those beans are pretty nice. Yeah, not bad. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Sainsbury's. So Sainsbury's is the second biggest supermarket in the UK. So if we have a look at these, looks a little bit darker than the Tesco one, but pretty similar. The sausages are a bit bigger than the last ones, and they look more like a sausage. That looks more like a real sausage rather than the last ones were just sort of soft, sort of looked like large beans. Let's see what they taste like, most importantly. Similar flavour. The beans are okay, actually. Beans are quite nice. The sausage. Look at that sausage. Have another one of those. I mean, they're both edible. They're both decent. The Tesco's ones remind me more of the ones I had back in the 80s. These ones taste a bit more like sausage. They're still very soft. They're both decent, to be honest. They're both okay. For 54p and 55p, that's not a bad meal. Now, if I look at the Morrisons one, this is also 55p. Looks probably more similar to the Tesco's one than the Sainsbury's one. The Sainsbury's one looked more like a real sausage. Let's see what it tastes like, most importantly. Yeah, that tastes similar to the Tesco's one. All three of them, pretty good though. I have to say I'm happy with all three of those. I haven't had this for many years, but I could certainly have that for my lunch. Now, let's move on to the premium end of the market, because this next one are the Branston beans with sausage. These are £1.50, so almost 3 times the price of the supermarket owned ones. Same amount of quantity, looks like a similar number of sausages, 7 or 8 sausages. This is what the sausage looks like, so somewhere between the Sainsbury's and the Tesco's one, I would say. Let's see what it tastes like. Tastes the same as the other 3, to be honest. There's no difference. I'd say there's no noticeable difference in the beans or the sausage for the Branston one. So as it stands at the moment, I can't see why you would buy the Branston ones over the supermarket owned ones. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's move on to this one, which is the beans, Heinz beans with Richmond sausages. So these are the branded sausages. These are a premium sausage. Now, if we look at it, they look quite anemic. So they're similar to the other ones. They look a lot lighter. All the other ones, if I show you these are the Morrisons ones, you can see that the sausages are much darker than these Richmond sausages. These Richmond sausages look very pale. So let's see what they taste like. This is a premium Richmond sausage. So it tastes very much the same as the other ones. The beans are a bit more familiar because they're Heinz beans. So they're more what I associate with the flavour of beans. The Richmond sausage, it just sort of disintegrates in your mouth. I wouldn't say that the Richmond sausage is better than these other sausages. In fact, I think I prefer these four other ones rather than the Richmond sausage. The Richmond sausage sort of, let's have another one of these. So just look at it again. It's very pale. It's very soft. It's got a slightly different flavour to the other ones, but I don't think I like it as much. I think I prefer the other one, so it's a bit of a thumbs down for me for the Richmond sausage. Okay, the last one is the vegan sausage. Now, these do look different. So this is the one that was much saucier in the tin. It does seem to have a lot of sauce in it. These are Heinz beans, so real beans. And these sausages are the darkest of all, even though they're not real meat, they're vegan. They look a lot darker than the other ones. And they're a little bit small, a little bit narrower than the other sausages, but pretty similar in terms of the size. Let's see what it tastes like. Oh, it's quite a different texture and different taste. So just thinking back to those Richmond sausages, they taste a little bit spicy. It's not much, but a little bit. These vegan sausages, they're my least favourite of all of the sausages. I guess it's maybe like a vegan sausage. It's sort of very soft. Not sure what the flavour is, but the textures, it's like, it's a different texture to these ones. All of these ones are sort of soft to bite and then just disintegrated. These ones, it does taste a little bit more, I don't know what that flavour is. I'm not liking it as much. The beans are nice. The sausage, not so much. So, how am I ranking these? Which ones are my favourite and which ones are my least favourite out of these 6 sausages? Well, at the bottom end of the market, I have to say, the worst two, in terms of the beans with sausage, so talking about the sausage specifically, the worst two are the Heinz ones. The beans are good, the sausages are not good. And the vegan one, I don't like the vegan one. It doesn't taste nice. These Richmond sausages, let me have another one of those just to compare it, to see which one I'm going to go with as the least favourite. I don't like that Richmond sausage. But I don't like the vegan one more. So the worst one for me, so bottom of the 6, this Heinz the Heinz with vegan sausage, that's bottom of the shop for me, and it's the most expensive at £2. Second bottom, Heinz with Richmond sausage, also £2. Not very nice, either of those two. Now of these remaining 4, let me just refresh my memory. I'll try the Branston one first. Yeah, that sausage isn't bad. It's okay, and the beans are okay. This is the Morrisons one. That sausage is quite nice. The Sainsbury's one, with the beans. I like that one. And then the Tesco's one. So I think third bottom, I'm going to put the Branston, because they're £1.50. They're almost 3 times the price of these supermarket owned ones, and they're just not that much nicer. They're okay, but they're really not that much better at all. So they come in third. They come in fourth. In terms of third place, let me just test these. The Morrison one and the Tesco one. In third place, I'm going to put the Morrisons one. In second place, the cheapest, 54p per tin, the Tesco's one. But for me, the best of all of these beans with sausage, I mean, the supermarket ones are all good, but the best one, just by a hair's breadth, is the Sainsbury's beans with sausage, this one. These ones remind me most of those days back in the 80s when, you know, I'd come in, having played football, starving, needing something to eat, look in the cupboard, find a tin of beans with sausage. In those days, you'd have to open it manually with a can opener and pour it into a pan and heat it up on the stove. But this is the taste of the 80s for me. If you haven't tried beans with sausage for a long time, if it's been similar sort of time to me, 30 years, 40 years, treat yourself. Next time you go to the supermarket, pick up one of these. They're super cheap. I mean, you can pick them up for, you know, considerably less than £1 for these supermarket own brands. They taste better than the branded end of the market, which is going to set you back a couple of quid. Not worth it. That isn't worth it. This 55p for a Sainsbury's one, definitely worth it for a trip down memory lane. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video, seeing me trying something from the 80s that's still on sale today, still popular, people still like it. I don't think it's worth buying the branded stuff. I think the supermarkets have got it nailed. They are making these just how they should be. I would definitely recommend buying a supermarket one. Sorry, I was almost burping there because they've had a lot of beans. So I'm gonna suffer for this later, but that's what it's like on YouTube. Sometimes you have to take one for the team. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing me having these beans with sausage. I would say that I'm going to finish them all off now, but I probably won't because I've already had at least a tin's worth of beans with sausage, which is enough for anyone in any day, I think. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you did, then please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Let me know if there's any other things in tins that you would like me to try, because it's a little series that I want to put together of food in tins. Maybe it's a bit of nostalgia, or maybe it's just some crazy stuff in tins that people are eating. But look out for the next video coming out. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. I'll see you again next time.